Greetings, this is Sister Rebecca, aka Holly Hood, and today I want to talk to you about what's going on in Cern, Switzerland. I want to thank Frederick and Maisha Scott for they're two of my subscribers who brought this to my attention because I had no clue. And after I bring it to your attention, you're going to realize that you didn't have no clue. And we need to have clues about something as big as this. So without any further ado, just fasten your seatbelts and listen up. As always, God bless y'all. Thank you for watching. And I look forward to your comments. As always, God bless. Cern, Switzerland. There is a 17-mile long, 300 feet beneath the ground accelerator that is in, and this is a picture of the thing. It's quite massive, and it's in Cern, Switzerland, and it accelerates particles and brings them into collision. Now, this is not obviously I'm not a physicist or any type of person knowledgeable in these things, so I'm going to try to break it down to you as a liaison between those who are doing this and ourselves. So I'm going to break it down so that not only do I understand it, but so that you understand it as well. What's going on here is this thing, it's a large hydrator, and it's already, since March, it's been in the initial process of being put online. What's going on behind the scenes, and your understanding it, is it's mandatory that I introduce you to a physicist. So here we go with Stephen Hawking, who's actually pretty famous. He's considered to be a genius on the level of Einstein, and I'm not sure of his IQ, but I could tell you it's probably Mensa status. And Stephen William Hawking, he is a British theoretical physicist. He's a cosmologist, which is not a cosmetologist, but he studies the cosmos, so he's a cosmologist, author, and he's a director of research at the Center for Theoretical Cosmology with the University of Cambridge. He is an honorary fellow of the Royal Society of Arts, a lifetime member of the Pontifical Academy of Sciences, and a recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the highest award in the United States you can get. Professor Hawkins was the Lucasian Professor of Mathematics at the University of Cambridge. So putting all his credentials aside, this is what he has to say about this Hadron Collider. He recently warned that the reactivation in March of CERN's Large Hadron Collider could pose grave dangers to our planet. And he's not the only one. You've got this other doctor, he's a brother, and I can tell you that for those of you who are looking for ballerific status, I don't think this brother could go any higher. He's an astrophysicist, cosmologist, author, science communicator. He is director of Hayden Planetarium. He founded the Department of Astrophysics at the American Museum of Natural History in 1997. He's a Harvard grad. And in 1996, he became the director of the planetarium to oversee its $210 million reconstruction project, which was completed in 2000. Now, that right there should tell you, this brother right here, and as you can see, his name is Neil deGrasse. He, wow, he has an opinion on this thing as well. And what he is saying is that this thing, if you're looking for a way to blow up the world, well, you found it. These guys have created a monster. And this is why they're sitting there looking crazy, because now they've created this thing, and the only thing they can do with it is destroy everything that's already created. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. But a lot of time and money went into this, and somebody had to approve it. So, excuse me, my question is, you know, this thing, it sits on the borderline between Switzerland and France, which is another thing that's very interesting, because It's a European creation, obviously, and it was paid for and sought through via the European government. However, the thing that's concerning to me is that the United States, other than just being guests permitted to oversee the project, we have no control over it or what's happening with it or anything. So we can just observe. We're observers only as they blow up the world, and which will happen because the other thing too. Now let's talk about matter. Prior to putting this video together, I really wasn't sure what antimatter was as opposed to matter. So I want to talk a little bit more about matter. Now, matter is stuff. It's tangible. You can see it. You can touch it. It's there. As opposed to antimatter, which all of these things are matter. They're things you can see, you can touch, you can feel. But antimatter requires and they require an action. Excuse me, to make things happen. For instance, the lighting of that blunt that you're lighting right now requires an action. For those of you who say God made weed, He did make it as an antimatter, which didn't require anything, but it was us who went and decided to make rolling papers and to pull the weed from the ground and to dry it out and then roll it and smoke it. So this is the difference between matter and antimatter. Antimatter really doesn't require anything to just be. The problem with antimatter is that it's usually pretty volatile, and it can cause results that are not desired, which is why it needs to be contained. And a lot of people who deal with this, chemists and physicists and people who must endure this, they know for a fact that it's how dangerous it is. I'm going to give you an example. They say the matter that blew up Iwo Jima was only a couple of grams that was required. And any report that you look at, you could go to Wikipedia, or you could go to Google, and you can see that it was only a few grams. And the system of calculating weights and measure, I do not believe there's a separate one for the government. I believe a gram is a gram. For those of you who have been in other parts of the pharmaceutical field, you know that what a gram looks like. So what I'm saying to you, in effect, is that if it only took that amount of antimatter to blow up a whole city, then imagine the repercussions of playing with something like this. And the sad thing about it is that you people who are listening, who may hear this, will say, oh, well, they're not going to do that. But you do not know what people will do. There's a distinct difference in technology, and even that, a person is behind it. So it's the pressing of a button that people go from one extreme to the other, and a lot of these super intelligent people, bear in mind that they're also crazy. Many of them were mentally ill. So you cannot say for sure, well, they won't do this, because then why build it, People build weapons of mass destruction with the intent of using it later. And in some cases with the intent of using it sooner than later. And it's all for the purpose of destruction. And why would you have that dancing demon of destruction in front of your manufacturing place unless you're trying to send some subliminal message to the masses, which would not surprise me, because this is an illuminous trait, is the sending of messages to forewarn of impending dangers. This was done with 9/11. It's being done now. And I say prepare for something big to happen. And many lives will be lost. This is all, in keeping with the word. If you go to the book of Revelations in the Bible, you will see that all of these things were already foretold. Now, one thing they did with the antimatter, and this is the spiritual connection, they decided to, because it had to be contained, they decided to put it in a college. and they had it contained there. And a lot of stuff started happening at the college. And I can't tell you the name of the college for obvious reasons, but a lot of supernatural stuff that scientists, these men of science, could not comprehend. Because remember, these are non-believers, so they don't believe in demons or spirits or even God. But sure enough, they witnessed this. And this should tell you that something connected to this antimatter is not of God. In fact, going back to Dr. Stephen Hawking, um, in which he states that this could eventually destroy the universe. Well, let me take it even one step further. Cern has effectively opened up the gates of hell and the lake of fire. Thank you.